Members don't have to.
Well, wait a minute, but aren't you gonna be my, left-hand or right-hand person? Oh, Corinne took the seat. I can do this, but no, I guess I can't.
Lord,
What?
the new members don't have to come to the meeting.
Not this meeting, they're in live. The Dunn has made a,
Okay.
rule. Wait a minute, I need tech support.
What's up?
How should it look like this?
That add them in like.
Oh, I know, because I'm
YouTube.
Because I'm in YouTube. There we go. That's why it looks like that.
Just get a handle on how to meet.
Yeah.
Or just get random for office.
And are the
Oh, hi. I was gonna sing my breadsticks over there. How you doing?
okay, so Candace is here. How many people do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
And Paula's here.
At the community center, the community.
I'm just.
So, can those apply if you're up? Somebody say yes? They can't. They can't. Okay.
You know, Marco.
Somebody, you don't.
What's that?
Hi, everybody. It's me. It's Candace.
Yeah, you're up. Online. Probably just the wrong speaker. You know, it's probably just set up the wrong speaker. I was it.
And Paula is here online.
So did you get that spam this week? Did you get that spam? I got it.
You guys hear us online?
All the stuff that asked me to go out and buy. For $200 for record. No,
Yeah. Can you guys hear us online?
they wanted me to go to the store.
No.
We cannot hear you now.
Did you get that? Spam?
We can hear you now.
I was supposed to bring the cards here, get them. I gotta. They said she was in a meeting, she didn't have time, but I go out and buy $200.
The answer.
They can show you 13.
I
Spam?
her,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, why would you be asking me that? Of all.
Paula, I did the same thing actually. Weird.
Where did you get the cards from?
My card phone?
Where did you get the cards from? You went to call you to go and buy it.
But they.
Oh, no, you just said, it said like, hey, I need your help. Can you email me? I know nothing about cards.
I'm in the middle. I was supposed to go out and $1,400 gift card.
Well, and in our.
Four times.
Maybe they prevented.
We're gonna get started. And I apologize, my printer broke today, so I was not able to bring any printed copies of the agenda. Obviously you have one.
I have one if you want to.
Well, okay,
Yeah, I can look on my cell phone.
okay, yeah, I might need one. Yes, thank you, because that probably is better for me to go click, click, click through. I know what it is. Okay, and you guys can hear me now? Perfect.
Great.
Okay, calling the meeting to order of UNNC's governing board meeting on June 5, 2025. My name is Laura Myers. I am the vice president of UNNC. Our president, Paula, who can speak up now, is on Zoom tonight.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi there.
And as is the case in the past, because Laura is physically there, I'm asking that she conduct the meeting, but I am here.
Paula can still chide you if need be. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen with our agenda. So, what is this? And as everyone has seen and can see, it's a pretty seriously busy agenda, and we're already starting 10 minutes late. So sorry. And going through it quickly, we have public comments and announcements on items not on the agenda. The next item will be celebrating our departing board member service. Then government agency reports and comments. We have an item 5, park needs in UNNC, and there's an A and a B. We have one of our residents here with a request for support, a quick discussion, and then we'll put it to a committee regarding a possible public park on West 36th Street. And we've been requested to do a report by tomorrow for the LA Parks Needs Assessment report by tomorrow. We have our website vendors scope of work to approve. We have the administrative packet, which I'm going to say now and again, this is just to vote on this, tonight. We will do another vote and it'll be maybe different in July. We have to vote tonight. And then for executive committee, we do need to set a different date for the July meeting because the first Thursday is the eve of the 4-day, the 4th of July weekend. We have 2 MER reports. My report, which will be quick. We don't have minutes, is that correct? No. So don't worry about it unless don't worry about it. And because we're struggling with quorum, I have a very specific item about making some temporary appointments, 1 to 2 months. So we have quorum for July and August while we fill board seats that are going to be vacant then. Item 10, a motion for reconsideration. I will be recused. So Teresa, will you run the meeting for that? Item 11 is 3 proposed community impact statements. And then we have committee reports, if any, then might not. Oh, any old business? No, probably not. And then we will adjourn. Okay. Any questions? Michael, can you call the roll?
Absolutely. Joshua.
Here.
Dolores. Present. Hunter. Here. Candace.
She was here.
She was online.
She was here. Are we?
Laura.
No, we're good for the moment without her. I'm here.
David. Here. Joe. Edward. Paula.
Here.
Ray.
Here.
Here. Brady.
Here.
Teresa.
Here.
Michael.
Here.
Thank you. Chris.
Here.
Diane. Betty. Marco. Here.
Okay. Next item. Public comments and announcements on items not on the agenda. If any, comments or announcements.
We have someone in the room.
Your item is number 5.
Okay, thank you.
You're actually on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
I know we're gonna be talking, I didn't see it listed on the treasurer's report, so I would like to bring this to everyone's attention if you want to talk about it during the treasurer's report. We had a special meeting to approve 6 NPGs. Only 2 of them were approved by the city clerk, the rest were denied. And there are many reasons, most of them are our fault that they were denied. And I think when the treasurer comes up, we need to have an explanation of what happened.
Okay. All right, any other public comments, announcements? Moving on. Okay, we are celebrating some of our board members' years, some longer than others, years of service, and both UNNC have certificates, and if I'm correct, Council District 10 does. So basically, is present. So UNNC has a tradition that when board members have completed their terms, leave, we hand out certificates of appreciation. So, and then Jeff, I'll have you guys do a separate. Okay, so this is our way of saying thank you. When we have later in the evening, we have some funding requests, we can discuss whether I can go use the UNSC credit card to buy frames. Oh, God, I didn't feel comfortable just doing it without having, so Grace. Mark. And we're gonna vote later.
4 years.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself to the flag?
I've been suckered.
Well, I'd like to take pictures, so.
Oh, I can't do that.
Somebody could.
I just.
I love your.
I'm Jeff Camp. I'm the senior field deputy with CD10. I always love getting the opportunity to do this because I care so much about the neighborhood council system, especially my neighborhood council, United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council. I was with this council for 13 years and half of that as president. So when I get to come back and honor those who have served on the neighborhood council, it is a true pleasure. So we are here with CD10 to present certificates to those who will be moving from the board. And the certificate says, on behalf of the city of Los Angeles and the 10th Council District, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to you and your exceptional volunteer service. Your dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to neighbors and community are inspiring. We especially thank you for your service to United Neighborhoods of Historic Arlington Heights, West Adams, Jefferson Park Communities Neighborhood Council, and for the steadfast support you provide for the residents you so passionately serve. There is no mention in there of salary. There is no mention of the hours and the time and the commitment put into making your neighborhoods better. And for that, I deeply thank you. So with that, I'd like to welcome Dolores up. And we're gonna do a round of photos. Grace?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're welcome. Is Diane?
She's not.
Not here. Yeah, please have her. You. And Marco. I'm right in here. I'm gonna stand behind it. This will take pictures.
Okay, Alfonso's taking pictures too.
Thank you guys so very much. If I turn it over to Ally for our update.
Yeah. Yes, perfect. So we're transitioning quickly to item 4, government agency reports and comments, Council District 10. Ally. Ally's thinking about it.
I got the wrong one, sorry.
All right. I'm Ally, Lisa Rivera, Sherman Council District 10. I just want to give you guys some info. We have our Debbie Allen block party this weekend on Sunday. Just so you're aware, there will be closings on Washington starting from 6 p.m. on Saturday between Gramercy and Western. And it will reopen midnight, early Monday morning. So it'll be Washington.
This is
Between Washington, Gramercy.
Right, it'll be
and
right
Manhattan
here.
Place.
It's
Yeah.
closing right here.
closing.
Yeah. May I point out that we who live on Gramercy did not receive any notification.
No. Make sure they know that. And then we also.
Laura, just to clarify, most of the closures in the neighborhood are the only true part of closure is going to be.
Washington, it'll be closed hard at Washington and Gramercy because they've had 2 block club parties previously.
I made sure today that there will still be in and out. And also into Gramercy itself.
Gramercy will be fine.
Yeah.
My point is only that the neighborhood wasn't notified of the neighborhood block party. You know, like.
What time is that at? What's the time? 10 to 3.
Also, there will be, an event happening for Father's Day, down in the Lamar Park area, or sorry, Jefferson Park area. It will be Father's. I apologize.
They're doing prostate cancer screenings at home.
Yes, woman church. So prostate cancer screenings, it is for men ages 40 and up. They are completely free. It will be a blood test. So that's really nice to come out there and have those services for free, especially for those who don't have it within reach. We also will be starting to inform of all of our events happening this summer. So we have jazz in the park, movies in the park. There will be festivals in Lamar for Juneteenth as well. So that information will start to come out after. The blood test is for the prostate cancer screening.
Yeah, when is that?
That's June 14th. At home.
At home.
And it starts at 10 a.m.
If I were already scheduled for a colonoscopy, sorry for those eating dinner, I'd probably go and do it too. Hey, I'm going.
We also have this weekend, if you guys are aware of Camp Fest, so we have about 100 kids this year. Amazing, we have about 50-50 split for girls and boys. They'll be headed to Camp Hollywoodland for girls, and they're gonna have a fun-filled weekend of campfire, swim,
Boat building.
yeah, boat building, and they're gonna have a boat race, which is really fun, so we all get to work together. So you guys, if you have any kids or know of any kids that are going to camp, you'll get to hear the amazing things that they do over the weekend.
And that also explains when we're not necessarily in council here.
Okay. Anything else?
Yep, that's it.
Any questions? I'm trying
They're
to. move
still
this along.
open, or is it closed registry?
It's closed, we go tomorrow. Next year, we'll try to have it in Spanish to help, so we'll have English, Spanish, and we're working on getting it a little bit sooner, with potentially a flyer that it's.
How do you find out about that?
We usually will go to our local schools, we had spoken about it on UNNC. When we got the information, and we just do a math.
Reach out to lawyers.
Yeah, Southeast, I know Southeast sent a few kids, so we got a good turnout.
Thank you. Alfonso? I think you're next. And noting that the next thing right after you is budget day, so you don't, you know, you can either merge the two together or if you were planning on speaking. of-
Yeah, let me pull up the. Right on, I'm sorry.
And you know, you need to come.
Yeah. Good point. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Alfonso, I'm with the Department of Urban Empowerment. So the first announcement I have is for the Shine LA Community Beautification Chart. That's gonna be Saturday, June 14th at 1 o'clock. It's somewhere in downtown LA. They don't know the exact address yet. But I'll send out the RSVP link today. I know I usually send it before, but I didn't. I just forgot. So you got to register to attend. It's only for neighborhood council board members and stakeholders who participate in the meetings. So they kind of want your input to see like where you guys want these beautification programs to occur. I know there was one in around this area like last month, right, for a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so that's gonna continue on. Again, I'll send that link in a bit, or if you got the newsletter, I think it was there too. Yeah. So I know that Laura talked about budget day. So it's gonna be Saturday, June 21st at 9 AM. I'm gonna work the event, so I'll be there. So at City Hall, parking is provided, breakfast will be provided too. Sorry, a lot of
Well, I can actually pull up that document
Yeah.
while you're scrolling.
So it's at 9 AM, but you know that the doors are gonna be open around 7:30 AM. So this year's theme is city services, budgetary transparency and accountability. There are gonna be regional breakout sessions. The confirmed speakers, so the keynote speakers, kind of important, right? Mayor Karen Bass, City Controller, Kenneth Mejia. I know that, Council President, Marquis Sarah also gonna be there too. The CEO was also invited. I'm not sure if he confirmed yet. But again, everything's online. You can register to attend. If you have any issues, let me know. I can do it.
And I'll just interrupt and then we'll skip the item. Teresa and Chris are our official reps. And we'll need to know if you want to go, because if not, if somebody else wants.
It's open to.
Yeah, but the day is open to the public.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, stopping.
go ahead.
So do we have any information on what our budget will be next year, if we're allowed to carry over, or what the status is?
So, yes and no, we got some insight, so. There was a motion to extend, to re-increase the amount to 32,000. So that's, that was included with like the ledger report we give out every month. Again, that hasn't been approved yet, right, but there is that motion. The other thing is that I know that our department got updated that the mayor was planning on vetoing the budget. Not sure if that occurred or not. So that's why I'm like, I don't know, to be honest, you know.
I think we did a CIS.
Okay,
No, we ended up not. Because I don't think it was because we didn't have.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, again, I wanna be.
So which way is the wind blowing, generally speaking, from inside?
We're preparing for budget cuts, to be honest. So I know that our department, not along with yours, along with neighbor council, right? So you're gonna get hit to get lower to 25,000. Our department's gonna get hit by, we're gonna either lower like, cut costs and software. So I'm like, going from the training program, that's going to get rid. So that means that, and they were, self-government, but
Let me ask you a question. This is a very simple solution to a very complicated problem.
yeah,
But we, as a city, had a budget of about 13.9 billion. We were at 12 and some change. We
Yeah.
were approximately $1 billion short, which is 7% of the overall budget. Why not just cut every line item by 7%? Walk away.
that's a great suggestion, but. It's,
Yeah. That would be simple, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not being able to, it's 13 billion. But, right, 35 billion, with 7%, you lose the $1 billion spread out. And everybody, nobody loses their jobs, everybody just takes a bite out of it, 7%, and you walk away with it, but it's over. Yeah. The messenger, he can't answer.
Yeah.
It's more complicated than that. But.
We're very concerned about the rollover amount because of some problems, we may exceed $10,000. So if you are advocating, one of the things we would appreciate is allowing us to carry over a greater amount of.
Yeah, so from what I heard, it's either gonna be the road over will occur, but it's gonna be the 100% from what I heard, right? That's what the last update, but that can always change. Yeah.
Right, well, we're gonna want Don and or council office to be advocate. Well, no, but what I'm saying, we have some issues that we don't need to go into detail about here, but we're gonna, and I'm sure other neighborhood councils do too.
Yeah.
Well, because among other things, just FYI, all neighborhood councils, whoever they were that turned in MPG requests for World Harvest had them rejected, but nobody got a memo when the first 2 or 3 got rejected. So, you know, we don't have any alternatives, we lose the money unless we can roll it over. Okay. Yeah.
The budget is finalized, but what I've been seeing is there are several departments, because they have reports or they had requests from city council, that when we see where we are mid-year into the fiscal year, an example would be with the police, because they cut it down from 470 to like 240. And if the funds are looking good mid fiscal year, we'll be able to put it back up to what the original ask was. That's out there for a lot of departments. I'm not sure if it's done or not. Neighborhood empowerment.
Yeah.
But even though the amounts have been set, it is still fluid and moving so that we can put into areas where we knew we should and try to do a little bit better. So it's going to constantly be evolving until we get things back in.
Yeah, I think the budget will be extended until October, right, for some department?
Yeah, for beginning of the department, there'll be a relook again. So I'm just not sure what those departments are, but because I was at CPAP, I knew that police and recruiting was one of those.
Sure, question. That's or does that not answer your question? But you have the serenity to accept that.
Yeah, so the other budget cut, I don't think you were asked about, was to the department, so there's 5 staff members that were set to get cut. That does include project coordinators and 1 senior project coordinator, so like my boss, and 4 other field reps. So what we're looking at is how we're gonna best service every member council. So in my case, right, like I might not be here every meeting. So it just depends where those layoffs occur. If they do occur. The other thing is that the union still hasn't stepped in, right? So or like most city employees have unions. So that's another thing too, right? They call for the labor to go in there. I know. I go to the union meetings and this is kind of like inside info, like they're just waiting to see what's gonna happen too. So everyone says, I don't know. That's the best response you're gonna get.
All right. Anything else?
That was any more questions?
No. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so we don't really need to do 4C, because kind of just merged it into. Yeah. Okay. Oh, no, no, I understand. The first email that we received was, make sure you elect your budget reps at your next board meeting. Then the second email after the agenda was published was, it's open to everybody. So, okay, item 5, A, for park needs in Unnc. A is request support for possible public park development at 3330 West 36th Street. It's a stakeholder request. Our stakeholder is here. So if you want to introduce yourself and let's.
Hi, yeah,
And do you have any presentation or is this just a
No, just-
say hello and
just saying hello. And
say hello and tell us, you have to come here though, because our owl likes you better over here.
Okay, so,
So like here. And maybe we, after you talk a little bit, we could talk about which committee to refer this to.
okay, that sounds good. Well, I'm Cesar Garcia, I live on 12 Ave in Jefferson area. I've been there for about 5 years now. I have a little 5-year-old boy, wife is pregnant, so, family's growing. So yeah, I was, we walked to the park close to the library, Leslie Shaw, and it's a walk, and especially with all the cars, it's kind of hard to get to. So we're like, and then there was a couple of reports that I just read about, like LA's needs more parks, like park deserts, and I looked up where I live, and I was like, oh yeah, really far from parks. So then I reached out to the committee, and yeah, I was like, what can I do to do this? I'm willing to canvas, get signatures. I looked up places, so I come up with a area, because like city owned. I was like, maybe we can start here. I don't know what the process is, so I'm willing to learn.
So Jeff, this is the parcel that has a metro easement of some sort, but it's not a metro parcel on West 36 east of Crenshaw, and is it like at 11?
It's closer to Crenshaw, so yes.
Yeah, and I do know that it was identified in the program document for the first mile, last mile, the more recent federal grant that's been considered. But I think it was targeted for bathrooms. Anyway, do you know anything about that parcel?
And I'm not sure if I received an email from you.
Yeah, I know a couple.
Yeah, I have received a couple of emails from people in the area. I'm not at liberty to say what the location is, but there is a part in the process in the area, and that we will be reaching out to the area for their input and support and outreach. There's another park location that was suggested, and it's a city yard. And I can say that location will not be used for a park because it is a vital city service yard. And we can't remove that from the community.
That being a different location or that being this one he's suggesting?
Different location.
Got it.
So before I leave, in fact, maybe I announce that now. If anyone wants to reach out, I can be reached at jeff.camp@lacity.org. So, and I will be more than happy to include you in the developments as I can speak them as well. Because when it involves a park, especially if it's in Unnc footprint, it goes to the community and they get to say what they're looking for and what they'd like to see. But what makes it difficult is the location. So the location you may not be looking at, I don't know, because I have not been given the location, but I know.
Why is that such a secret?
Well, no, it's not a secret,
Oh,
because it has to go through the process.
Okay.
The land is identified, make sure that it's not being used for any other purposes, and okay, yeah, let's reach out, you gotta make a motion, let's go to record parks. This is what the city intends to do with this land.
You've got
That's kind of like the,
stuff.
yeah,
All kinds of stuff, jump through.
yeah. Your funding is coming from different sources, not just the city, not just state, not federal. You've also got Quimby when you're dealing with development dollars. So there's a lot going on in the background. It's not a matter of this, we want to hear. Those are the kind of things that we're going through now. I don't know those yet, but I do know that I have received many requests, not just 36 for the print on, but also for
Yeah,
and the other side and the rest of it. So,
How big is the park?
Well, where's your-
Or the lot,
The parcel?
the parcel is the place that we're proposing. Where we're proposing, it is 2.5 acres.
oh. Yeah, so if you are the one who emailed me this area, please do so.
Okay.
Suggestion?
Yes, 'cause-
Okay, let me just do this.
Yeah.
So right now, we don't have a recreation and parks committee, so how about we place this under planning and zoning? Laura seems to know a lot about that, we can work with the council and you, the community to.
And the incoming board to find a chair of a recreation person.
Yeah, like, we don't have that. So the plan be to move into planning and zoning.
And maybe you might want to consider being chairperson.
You guys have going.
Okay.
Okay, I love it.
Okay. It's not on the agenda.
Okay,
But let's put it on planning and zoning. Let's see if we can do it this month, but if not, in July.
Okay.
Okay. And but that slides us right into the next half of this. The park needs assessment, and Teresa, do you know anything about this?
I just know that we're on the second phase, and there's a link, everybody should try to, do the survey, it's about 2 minutes long, talk about what we need in our community, so. Thank you, was sent out with the Dunn newsletter from Alfonso,
Okay,
the park needs assessment.
yeah.
Simple, it's just they ask you what you think parks around you need.
No,
improvement.
Hey,
I took this like a week or so ago.
It's part 2.
your chair of the moment is saying, hang on, they're asking the neighborhood council, this is the new news. As a neighborhood council to prepare a report, and it was due last Monday, and they gave us till tomorrow to do it, so. Can, assuming Teresa and I wanna pull an all-nighter, can you trust us to come up with something tomorrow about the need for parks in our community and how few we actually have, because Teresa surely knows from being a chair of the.
I don't know compared to what size other neighborhoods are, but I know we need more green space and we need more trees, we need more places for kids to play.
I sent that email to a couple of stakeholders, 3 or 4 stakeholders about that.
Yeah, no, that's individual. They want a lot of people to take a survey, but they've asked for a report from the
Oh,
neighborhood council.
okay.
Yes,
So
Alfonso?
so far, we attended with councils, kind of this report about it's a different, Laura is correct. And I know they did extend the deadline, they reached out to us, they don't attend, if we need any additional ones. To forward the report to them, so if you create one, even though it's late. Or it may be a little bit more late, if you do decide that, please see me on that. And then I'll try my best to get it to them, okay?
We did not,
I'll be there.
we never, well,
We didn't, as far as we know, we never got it. It certainly was not in the president's email.
so,
Uh,
but we'll work on it, we'll try to see that tomorrow, we'll CC you.
Okay, and you guys, we don't need a BAC to authorize us to do that, right? Okay, moving on.
I could I
Yes, sir.
you think you're gonna, we get a clear understanding. The two of you are going to put together something.
We girls will put something together.
Oh,
We're gonna respond to the needs assessment response for neighborhood councils. What we're gonna advocate for is to have more green space. And for the parks that we do have to be maintained better, the Isadora House to possibly be renovated or torn down because it's an eyesore and it's, a home for homelessness. Do you have?
Well, yeah, I did have a question before. Are you suggesting the amenities that the park should have? Are you going, how far?
I was just gonna be broad, but if you have some idea, what are your ideas?
It's just in the sense of, you know, people are recreational type thing, I mean, workout type stuff, workout equipment like, or.
I mean, when it
Well, we have
comes,
some of that at Benny Potter, but you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, any new thing that would have the types of things that people may not want to pay. Yeah, you're not just Yeah, straight. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so work out.
I would say I know they haven't announced anything yet, but we suggest that we approve of any new parks that might be opening in the West Adams area that we just heard about, you know? Like,
Okay.
push that along a little bit.
Okay.
Okay.
And remember, all those letters that we do, they get posted to our website. We have a drop down that shows official letters from UNC. So this letter will be posted.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm doing two things at once. Steve has his hand up and I need text from somebody to get up to the regular Zoom.
Steve, do you wanna go while,
Steve, do you want to talk?
Thank you. So I'm Steve Peckman. I live in Jefferson Park. Been here for about 20 years. I think this parks project is really important. And I would suggest that the council district representative, Jeff Camp, be asked to provide some data. Specifically, it's my understanding there are approximately 659 parks within the city. How many parks are there per council district? How many parks are there per population within a council district? I think there's an equity issue here that needs to be mined for South LA in general and for CD10 specifically that should be part of any information that's provided to the city requested about parks.
That you have statistics, since we're gonna be crushing this, will you please email Teresa and me with whatever you actually already know?
All I know is that there's approximately 659 parks in the city, but I don't know the distribution. Jeff should be able to get those numbers pretty easily.
That's fine. 659. Oh, I can.
Yeah. So again, I think there should be some data about how many parks are there per council district. So how are those 659 number distributed across the council districts and how are they assessing per population? Right. This is a quality of life issue that's really important to South LA.
Okay, and it is. We're gonna be doing a report for Unnc, so we know what our. And there are 99 neighborhood councils. That we could take 659, divide by 99 and see where we are on that.
We should not.
Okay, that's basic math,
6.5.
which I understand. We don't have much in terms of the square footage of parks.
Okay.
Okay,
Next.
the next item on the agenda, if we can move on, is to approve Ann Zumwinkle.com's annual scope of work. So, basically, Hunter, you can tell them who Ann Zum is, but.
Yep, she does our website. She did the same things that we talked about 2 months ago when we voted on this. She does all of her updating. She's gonna do all the new board members when they're inducted and get all that stuff settled out. Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the,
Well, I want to say one thing. She voluntarily reduced her budget probably by that 7% that you were suggesting. Just saying. Anyway, please make a motion. This is a BAC.
I will make a motion to approve Ann's scope of work for fiscal year 2025 and 2026
Gracie second.
As presented.
as presented.
Second.
Okay. And may I stop the share?
All right, Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes,
Hunter,
Yes.
Candace.
Oh, she dropped off again. She's trying.
She's obtained.
But do we still have 13?
Yes.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
David.
Yeah.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Grace,
Yes.
I'm a yes, Corinne,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Chris,
Chris Carlson, yes.
Marco. Yes. Great, motion passes.
Okay, so the next item is the first round. Let's say- Oh, you didn't call Diana.
Oh, I'm sorry. There you go, Diana.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. It was just, I was in the middle of doing this. The next item is our next fiscal year, 2025-2026 admin packet. So this is technical. We vote on it in June so that we can have more than $333 available to us in July. But have to vote again in July. It's not even a choice. Because they'll need a second BAC with the correct fiscal year BAC. So what we're proving tonight is our essentially transition admin packet. We did a budget with the $25,000 only, not including any rollover. We kept the financial officers exactly as we are. We kept pretty much everything exactly as we are. And we're gonna have to retype it because something happened to the type between executive and now. So basically we have, oh, you're scrolling. Why don't we go back up to the top and very quickly so that you guys see what we did. No, to the, Michael is still the signatory, Ann is still the treasurer.
Yes.
Laura is still card holder and alternative signer, or whatever the title is. And then we haven't signed anything yet, obviously. And so again, we have a total of 25,000. We cannot include any rollover funds in this budget. We reduced some of, as best we could, some of the costs of our above the line and administrative. So we took it, this current year was about 21,000. We're down to 15. Well, but it's not permanent. This is going to be redone in July with a new board. Okay, you can ask questions, but let's go through. So we cut as best we could the operational budget, I guess is what you would call it. And that includes and cuts. And then we have as outreach $5,500. And we were just putting things in the packet. And we should not have any elections expenditures, but I see that somehow we do, so that's going away. It says 281, but it's 0, so we're gonna reach out. It's a 0. We're taking out 281.47. I don't even know what that is. And we have 3,890. I don't know why Beautify LA is in there either, which I can't talk about. But in any case, we have 3,890 at the moment set aside for NPGs, and that is it.
Why isn't that a round number?
Because the operational expenses aren't total estimates. We know that we're charged at the moment $343 a month for public storage, for example. So we have some of them are not. And then we could move, if we can find a place that doesn't charge. So it doesn't charge us $43, we'll be able to get rid of that. Okay, Teresa has a question.
So what happened with Reg Central?
It's in there still.
I know, why is it?
Because we don't have
I'm
an
sorry.
on-screen again.
I did not win. We won the Zoom battle. This is a battle that I did not win.
Well, the battle was.
So we have that, and then also I see that Beautify LA, which we know.
Oh, it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, but it's there, so you're asking us to vote for stuff.
I just can't amend it, well, live, but clearly we're not putting anything in elections, and we're clearly not doing Beautify LA. But we are doing 3,800 and whatever that number was for NPGs in this budget. That was what executive voted.
How much did we have for NPGs last year? I think we had like 6,000, and then we had thousands and thousands of dollars.
Okay, Teresa, you did miss executive. So what executive decided is that when we know what our rollover is, we will divide it between outreach and NPGs so that we can have it, but we can't do it now.
Right, but you're asking us to vote on this.
Correct,
Okay.
because this is the money that
Okay.
we have.
Cool.
Yeah.
But we're good. We're good, Laura.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah,
The one item, so $1,000 item for retreat, what is that?
I don't even.
That's what I mean. There are things in there that we're being asked.
Okay, do you want to move the, okay,
Curious as to what it is.
well,
Or
usually,
retreat, what is that?
well,
We haven't had a retreat in the 4 years I've been here. Prior to that, they would have a board retreat when the new board members came in and got to know each other. I do think
Well, training, you know,
they wanted to do something at South LA Cafe so they get a chance to meet the community and each other for the new board.
okay,
I don't know if that.
guys,
I didn't get retreat.
okay, guys. If you want to move $1,000 away from board retreat and into something else, that's fine. However, be aware that if we have it here and the new board, remember, we have new people coming. If they decide that in August, they want to have a board retreat, the money's immediately available. If they decide, because it's above the line, it's in the operations budget, we don't have to do another.
You said this is what executive approved, and that's what you're presenting to us. You just said.
I did,
executive-
exactly.
Okay, so let's just put this up for the vote. You're presenting this on behalf of executive, and we can vote if we approve it.
Right, and it's definitely an error. Two things are errors that are not to be approved. One is, we are not, this little 281, here, look. I think it's gone, okay? I can fix that. Apparently this is a live document. So we're not approving that, and we're certainly not approving that. Does it matter that I'm the one touching it?
No.
Thank you. Okay, does that make you feel better? But the whole thing needs to be retyped because of whatever's going on with the lettering anyway.
There's also the other numbers we're gonna have to change, the total, because I don't think this document is not automatically updating when we get it.
No, well, I understand, but we're gonna.
No, the total.
Yeah, the 3890 is fine. The 3890. Okay, the motion is approve the, okay, are we good now? I fixed it. Approved it as fixed while we were watching.
I'm not gonna.
That's what I did.
And then I'm not even finished. We haven't gotten down to.
What are we voting on it?
We meet here at Gramercy Place Apartments. We have public storage as our storage. We have a PO box. 4041. And we have Ann Zumwinkle, DBA Zumwinkle.com as our website services provider. So this is what's in the packet. And it will be changed as needed in July when we change our officers. It will be changed when we find out the final budget amount. Because it may have changed twice, and the new board has the opportunity at any time to change the balance.
We're voting on a placeholder.
Thank you. So the motion is to approve the admin packet as, I'm gonna say presented because I fixed the errors. Needs a second.
I second.
Who was that? Chris
Chris
seconded.
Carlson seconds.
And then Chris Carlson seconded. Thank you, Chris. Sure.
All right, Joshua.
Abstain.
And Dolores,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Edith. Laura,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Grace,
Yes.
I'm a yes, Green,
Yes.
Teresa,
No.
Michael,
Yes.
Chris,
I do not.
Chief seconded, I was with you, Diana,
Yeah.
Marco, yes.
Okay, next item, funding requests. So.
I don't know if
broadly
I was called on that vote.
Yeah,
They
you
said
were,
he seconded, so
Yeah,
Okay.
they made an assumption.
Yes,
that's all.
Okay, the next item is a series, essentially funding requests. We have to still spend some money, and so these are credit card expenditures. Teresa, do you want me to just quickly run through it? Yeah. Okay, so it's purchase, outreach, and promotional items. What we were talking about is T-shirts for the new board members. So the UNNC branded T-shirts, a tablecloth.
The whole thing.
Do you have any whole shirts left over?
No.
I thought one
We have
extra.
one.
Hmm.
Well, it's
No,
been,
it's used.
it's used.
Oh my God. I don't think it was used.
You don't think
By
No, it's okay. I thought we had like a big box.
I'll just respond to it. So I don't know, maybe people.
Yeah.
For 15, clearly, we need to each other.
Oh, next.
So everybody. Based on.
Okay, and so anyway, what we need is 1,500, I mean, that's the max I put on here. But, do we need even close to that? We kind of haven't figured out what else we're gonna buy, but
No, we haven't been able to do that for her because we don't know how much money.
no, we have the $1,500 to spend, that's for darn sure.
Oh, yeah, just up to 1,500 sounds great to me.
Yeah, up to.
Okay, who wants to make that motion?
I do. And motion.
Corinne moved. Who wants to second that motion?
I can second.
Hunter seconded,
I like that.
and that is to purchase outreach and promotional items up to $1,500, utilizing the credit card no later than June 15th.
Item 8A.
Okay. And then I do want to do a standalone
Church only 450.
450, not 450 a shirt.
Yeah.
All right, Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Hunter?
Yeah.
Candace? Laura?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Edward?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Yes.
Grace? I'm a yes. Corinne?
Yes.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Marco?
Yes.
Did you get Diana?
Oh, I'm sorry. I temporized everything earlier. Diana. There you go.
First.
That's gonna mess up my process. It's already done.
So, I have a question for you all. If we have the money within the 15 after we figure things out, can I buy 5 frames for those 5 certificates from UNNC?
So that would be part of the promotional and outreach.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah. So it's within it, you don't need it, is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
I just want to make sure that,
We'll do it.
yeah, I'm just saying you guys are.
Yes, we're okay with that.
Okay, the next item is, purchase of compostable plates and utensils for meetings and events. So in other words, instead of us
Sure.
using plastic and,
Sounds good.
Yeah.
But my only caveat with that is that we need to use up what we have. And
absolutely,
we have plenty of plates and plastic utensils, so I'm okay to purchase these, but let's use up the ones that we have.
as well,
Right.
okay.
How about some
Well,
of that
we'll use
more?
the ones that we have here.
And storage.
Yeah, I don't know what we have.
We
but
have,
yes.
we have them in storage.
Because that is still eco, because throwing them away would be bad. Okay, so I move that we approve up to $500, and in fact, Elizabeth was doing the research, we probably don't even need to spend $500. But up to $500 for the purchase of compostable plates and utensils for meetings and for events. Is there a second?
I was like. It's second.
Or we need another BAC?
All right, queued up, ready to go. So.
No.
Now, Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Hunter,
No.
Laura?
Yes. I'm sorry about food.
No, you're fine. David,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Grace.
Yeah.
I'm a yes. Corinne,
Yeah.
Teresa,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Diana.
Yeah.
Marco. Excellent.
Okay, moving on. Executive, oh no, I'm sorry. I have here revised previously approved MPGs if as needed, but we were told it wouldn't matter. So the problem is that we had, for good or bad, we had paperwork errors on the NPPs.
4,
3.
okay, 3 of them.
One of them was the World Harvest. So 2 issues with that. One was the paperwork error because they showed on their paperwork the end date of December 2024, because when they turned it in, it was still last year. They haven't yet purchased a cargo van, but it seemingly wouldn't have mattered because the city clerk or whoever, controller, rejected all the different neighborhood councils MPG requests for the same, for that cargo van.
One thing,
Because they said for embezzlement, they're being investigated for embezzlement.
Well, but,
So interesting.
but,
Yeah.
but if we're gonna get, I think you can have more of a detailed conversation in a few agenda items later when I won't be present. Anyway, so, but, well, I can't, they weren't embezzled. They're not the ones, they were embezzled, so it doesn't, it's not entirely logical, but again, the problem is that once the clerk knew that, they did not send out any notification to neighborhood councils, so other neighborhood councils kept putting in their applications, so we got
What do you mean they weren't embezzling, they were embezzled?
an employee embezzled allegedly,
Embezzlement.
right, so it's. And it's not something, not
Let's
something.
go on.
Okay, but not something we can fix. The other 2 problems related to the Jefferson Friends of the Library, they didn't have a start date and suddenly we're being told that insurance is not something that can be done, but there's nothing in the handbook on finances that actually says that, but it seems inarguable because they're using the paperwork error as a reason why we can't do anything about it anyway.
And then the third.
Family, Malcolm X. Again, because the event was on May 17th and our board meeting was on May 22nd. So we should have had them completely redo their MPG to not be about the event and to be about outreach and education related to Malcolm X. So that one, we just really can't do anything about. If we have the money next season, we can have a rerun one if the new board wants to vote. Yes, I'm gonna start over. Absolutely.
Yes. So you're saying these MPGs didn't go through?
They were denied.
They were denied. So what happens to the money?
That's the big question.
So let me just go back. Our May meeting, we did not have a quorum. People, you know who you are. You didn't come. You didn't let Laura know that you were not going to be here. We were here. We didn't have a quorum. So then we had to have a separate meeting on May 22nd. We all met, we approved those documents, but they were not uploaded to the city clerk. If they had been, she probably would have said, well, here's a problem with this, here's a problem with that, and then we could have said, oh, let's correct it, or let's try to have another meeting to do something with this money. It didn't happen, so now $4,800,
It's a lot of money.
it's a lot of money that we may lose if the city council does not allow us in this
roll it over.
exceptional year to roll over for next year. And I'm very frustrated by that. That means there are people in our community who did not get services. Not just the ones that we tried to help, but there could have been somebody else that we could have reached out to provide them with these funds.
Is there any opportunity to quickly identify, do we have enough time to try to spend? Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can't.
we-
Part at this point.
And
We're done. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. And we don't know, and right now, I still don't know, and I've asked Laura and I've asked Candace, how much money do we have?
know that.
I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I can answer the question. If we have not had these reversals, so
I'd like to know, how much money do we have right now, Laura?
I'm trying, I don't.
Okay, so how much do we have in
Okay,
reverse?
why don't you add 10, if anyone can do this in their head, 10,300 plus 2,500 plus 800 plus 1,500.
15,100.
That's what we have.
Okay.
So we're 5,100 away from 10,000. So we hopefully, we won't lose all 5,000 because we're paying Ann Zumbinkle. We can use a
Okay.
credit card to pay for, it's about 18 hours so that you,
How much is it?
that would be $1,350, ish, somewhere between $1,300 and $1,500
Okay,
is gonna be paid to him.
okay.
And, up to
1,505, so 2,000, so
Plus-
3,400 plus.
plus another public storage, plus the money I spent today.
Okay,
Food.
another 5, 34 plus 5, is 39.
So we, we're gonna lose
Maybe
some,
1,200.
yeah,
But we're not gonna spend all of the up tos, and therefore it could actually
correct,
be
be higher.
another 3,000 versus 12. Okay.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Just with clarification, the 4,800, okay, what is that normal? I mean, if we have
It
a.
is
Let me finish my. Oh, wait, let me finish my point. I'm just saying, normally, if we have someone on an MVG that gets denied, what is the usual process of the money?
Okay, the usual process on these kind of denials is they give you a couple of days to fix it. They didn't do that this year. They, and
Well, what if it's not fixable? Well, then.
well, the workforce is not fixed.
Well, I'm saying normally.
Then we went to the next month, we would say, oh, we have an extra $1,500. Let's support this project, or we would all reach out to other.
So you're saying because of the end of the fiscal year, we're having this.
Okay.
This is the problem.
Well-
Okay, I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Because in the past, they would take the couple of weeks in June to allow people to fix it, because the end of the fiscal year is not June 1, it's June
July.
30th. So she's fully upset about how these errors happened. But it has also hit a new city controller who apparently is not cutting anyone any slack, including the city clerk. So in turn, the city clerk is not cutting anyone any slack. So it's a series of problems.
What is
Slowing down.
Ability,
Of course.
the buck stops with us.
Yeah.
We can't blame the city clerk, we have to blame ourselves for the loss. I'm just saying, United Neighborhood Council, that was.
Well, you didn't have to do all.
You guys, basically, it's a combination of problems. And it started with not having quorum on May 1st. That's the main problem. Because if we had had quorum on May 1st, first of all, the one for Malcolm X would have been
Yeah.
before and not after the event. So that problem would have disappeared. Okay.
And the ones we don't.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, there's another 500. Forgot about it. Well, it isn't, yeah. Guys, moving on, because we want to get through this. Executive Committee, President's Report. Hey, Paula, the only thing on Executive Committee report is for President is set the date for the July meeting, because we cannot do the first Thursday in July. I already know that we're gonna kind of do a quorum check for those of you coming back. I already know that 2 of the board members, this being one of them, will not be here more or less the first 10 or 12 days of July. So Elizabeth is gonna be on an RV somewhere between South Dakota and Kansas. So we only will have, just like we have right now, 16 or 17 board members the first part of July.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Will you be next?
So my question, well, let me just ask you this. My question is, does the 3rd Thursday of July work for folks who are coming back? Because we haven't even checked in with the new board members.
Sure, yeah.
Michael?
Yes, for Paula.
Okay.
What was that again?
3rd
No, it would be
Thursday.
the 17th, right?
You're not on.
17th is.
Oh, I
That's
don't,
the 17th.
I don't have to come back.
You don't have to come back.
I'm free.
You're free. Michael, will you be back on the 17th?
No, I'll be back by the 24th.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad for, yeah, I'm.
So 17th, 24th, one or the
Okay.
other.
Is Bear Humdinger, he's stuck.
Man, I
Somebody,
can take this out of
I
my.
don't know who it is.
Can you get him out of there?
Oh,
Yes.
my dog. Doctor's gonna be out
Yeah.
3 days.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna send out a forum chat and I'm gonna send it to the new board members too. And see if there is a date in July that we can, get together. And Alfonso, I know that it's difficult for us to not have a date because that's when you have to install them, right?
Or,
Whatever day we end up choosing in July is the day John needs to install the new board. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm sorry, I apologize, we just can't do the first Thursday of the 4th of July. Yeah.
If not, I will be able to see the officers and
Okay,
August. Or whatever it is, you know.
they get sworn in. They get sworn in,
Yeah.
right? There's a whole little raise your hand and,
Are you gonna have the company number doing there?
we could maybe. That's a thought.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Swear, it'd be like everything last time, swear, in. I don't know,
Let's move on. Okay, treasurer's report. And we have to approve 2 MERs. Wait, give me a minute.
The mayor.
Do I have them open yet? Oh, I do. Okay, I'm sorry, we're gonna do in reverse order. That's probably. Am I stumbling on my words? I am. Okay, we are on item 9B. But there's gonna be 2 BIA, IB because there's 2 MERs.
Yes.
Okay, so guys, let's get focused. I'm gonna scroll really quickly through the April monthly expenditure report. And I'm not like Candace, I don't know what the beginning, what it quite means. So we had a beginning balance of 28,156.14. Had a remaining balance at the end, cash reconciliation of 20,562, and thus we had $19,780.99 left at the end of April. And we spent our money for food for this meeting, public storage, food for the firefighter appreciation dinner. GoDaddy. Some of our election expenses came in finally. Anne had a consolidation invoice from Zenwinkle.com and then a regular invoice from Zenwinkle.com. I got reimbursed for something way earlier. And we did an MPG to the California Dance Institute, and Michael got reimbursed for refreshments for one of our meetings. Yeah, and we paid for the Zoom license, and we paid for the Canva license, and there seems to be yet another invoice. I don't know why no, that's pending. Okay. I need a motion to approve the April MER.
I'll move to approve the April MER.
Second.
Marco seconds.
Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
My last, yes.
David,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula. Paula,
I'm muted. She's
No.
muted. I'm muted.
Grace,
Was that Chris? Yes.
Okay, and Paula, yes.
okay, I am a yes, Kareem,
Yes.
Teresa, Michael,
Yes.
Chris is a yes. Diana?
Yeah.
Marco?
Yes.
Did you call Diane?
Oh, didn't I call you? Oh, I did do it in my head. Diana.
Yeah.
There you go.
I now have I think I have, can somebody on the screen tell me, can you see the May MER?
Yeah, it looks like they should.
Okay, thank you. So, for May, we had the beginning balance of 20,562.23. With didn't spend very much money in May, it looks like. Oh, right, because everything got rejected. Spent $1,124.24, leaving us apparently a net available of 16,864.48. And that included public storage again. Here's that Canva license actually spent. Here's the Zoom license actually spent. Here's the one of Ann Sunwinkle's invoices paid, with a new invoice on the 28th of May showing as an outstanding expenditure, along with the sponsorship for West Adams Avenue's Jazz Under the Stars, the NPG to the Los Angeles Parks Foundation for $1,000, and a reimbursement, another reimbursement to me for a meal we had here in the governing board. So is there a motion to approve the May monthly expenditure report?
I'm
Corinne?
Second. Chris Carlson seconds.
Excellent. Joshua?
Yes.
Dolores?
Yeah.
Hunter?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Edward?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Grace?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Corinne?
Yes.
Teresa?
Abstain.
Michael?
Yes.
Chris?
Chris?
Oh, Chris, yes, sorry. The
No,
mic's
no.
not coming through good.
Diana?
Yes.
Marco?
Yes.
Excellent. Motion passes.
Okay. Vice President's report. Mainly, I wanted to point out that many of us who were just re-elected for the board have to retake our ethics training. And some of us would have to take their funding training. So the due dates range from right now to July, August. Alfonso, I wasn't really listening, but Cornerstone's still available right now.
Yeah, it's still up.
So if you need to take your training, your ethics training, and or your funding, not our funding, we did it differently. Please do it in the next 2 weeks. Don't wait till it's due, because it may not be available in the same way, and it's so troublesome in the first place. I know that's not necessarily the advice you want to hear, but if you know, and I will send out an email with the actual dates, but like mine's July 4th. I'm gonna do my on ethics. I'm gonna do it now. Candace's is in the next week. Paula, yours is in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we just need to do it now.
I'll just do it before June 30th.
Yeah, I'm saying do it before June 30th.
okay.
Just because it's gonna expire. I mean, the court is just gonna expire. Maybe it's a problem. We don't know how training will happen. Okay. We don't have it. Okay. And so, item 9E, possible appointments temporary for the vacant governing board seats. You'll take it?
This one about,
Joshua.
Josh. Yeah.
Well, it might be about you, Grace, or anybody who can take a month. or
I
two
just
more.
want to explain what happened.
Okay, start with Josh.
So, you guys may remember that Ever was our election chair. And he notified everybody who, whose term was about to expire that they need to run. What he saw with Joshua, was that he saw 2026. Actually, that was his expiration for his ethics or some other.
There is something on the roster that shows
2026. So Ever did not notify Joshua that he would have to run for his seat, so he didn't. And it is.
But we have Ever's seat.
Yeah,
So-
it,
So, no, we.
Yeah, so what I'd like to recommend is that we do appoint temporarily for 2 months.
2 months to give the next board the opportunity to say, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, okay, or we could do it permanently now, but okay, we want to do it that way. I just. Making sure that we have quorum. I wanted to make sure we have quorum for July, because the new people won't be installed, there's some,
Well,
just.
We have 6 vacancies.
Right, so what I'd like to do is make the motion that we appoint Joshua Pierce to,
2 months.
what's he?
The area vacant area rep seat 2027.
But why can't we make it permanent?
Permanent, yeah.
We probably could.
But
We should.
Okay, so we'd like
I don't think
to, Joshua, we'd like to make that appointment for you a permanent appointment.
Lifetime.
In perpetuity forever.
That was good.
Do you have a preference?
He's okay with permanent.
Okay.
We were just.
Okay. So what's worried about moving people to different spots? Absolutely.
He does.
Oh, I thought it was slick. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, one motion. The motion is to appoint Joshua Pierce to the at-large area rep seat that was vacated by Ever, which is a 2027 seat. So I don't know if that's group A or group B, but I think it's group A, but it's.
That's perfect, but Chris had a question.
Yes, Chris.
It seems like in the past, when we've had appointed seats, there's been a process that we're not really engaging in right now. And if that's,
Chris, here's our issue. We have 16 members.
I understand the issue. I'm just saying, since we're not able in this time frame to follow our normal appointment process, I think we should keep it as a temporary appointment for a set period of time where we then can engage in our established process. That's all I'm saying.
But there was a motion, it was seconded, and that's where we are right now.
Right, so.
So unless someone wants to accept her amendment as a friendly amendment, then, sorry, Chris.
We're just gonna vote.
Call for a question.
Who was the second?
I was.
I don't remember the first. Teresa's.
Teresa first, Michael, Kimbrough second.
Okay, and we're gonna have another motion.
All right, excellent. So, is Joshua eligible to vote on this?
He shouldn't
He should not.
We'll make him.
recuse.
Well, we'll just abstain.
Abstain.
He could vote for himself, but you know, we have a little controversy, let him in.
Dolores,
yes,
Hunter,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Okay, Edward,
Yes.
Paula.
Abstain.
All right,
I'm sorry,
Grace?
I had to step out of the room.
Oh, you're fine. Grace,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Kareem,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Don't forget Diana.
I'm getting there. Michael,
Yes.
Chris.
Abstain.
Diana.
Diana.
Yes.
Marco.
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay,
Yeah.
I also have a motion, and just jump in if you guys want to be added to it, to appoint temporarily Grace Yu for 2 months to Area 1.
Every time we try to get out.
Welcome back. 2 months to help us with quorum and to allow time for the new board to convene and go through the regular process. You know, to go through the regular process of advertising the seat and trying to interview people.
What seat was it?
Area 1, just say group B, doesn't matter.
Oh.
Temporary, 'cause it's temporary.
Sorry, it's regional, or region 1.
Region 1.
Great.
I second.
obviously don't need me to come back.
I second.
Well, you have to come back. No, I'm not done.
What'd you say?
You'd have to come back as an area rep for area 6. Would you want to?
No.
Okay, then there you go. Too much.
Said I didn't have to come back.
That's what I'm saying. If anyone else wants to kind of take
Well,
advantage of this,
fine.
this quick little blip.
For 2 months only.
Okay, I'll amend my motion.
Think it all.
I'm sorry.
He's in here.
Yeah, you need Jefferson Park. Yeah.
For 2 months, I need bodies, yes.
You coming back?
No. All of that.
Okay.
If you don't really need me. then-
I do need, we do. That's the problem is the quorum is the problem.
So what happens when the 2 months are up?
The new board will have hopefully found some other people to fill these same spots.
And if you don't?
Or other, or an area 3.
You're more real.
Well, let's go into, I swear to God, let's go into. Maybe I'm not.
You don't have to come to work for 2 board.
Do we ever give grace?
It sounds like a trick.
Can I amend this motion because I do want.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I'm, so, and in addition to appoint Dolores
Yeah.
Spears to,
Actually, hold on, to me, I want to, Dolores has to take another cornerstone.
No.
He doesn't want to do.
No, I don't believe that.
No.
I don't take her things no more.
all right, not my motion.
Excellent. All right, so I'm gonna call, roll on this one, Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores.
What is this for? Oh, great, so, yeah.
Hunter? Yes. Laura,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Ed,
Yeah.
Paula,
She's gone, not gone. I think she's,
around the abstain.
Yeah.
Grace, I will have you abstain as well. I'm sure you'd vote no though. I'm a yes. Kareem?
Yeah.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Chris? All right, Diane?
no, she's, yes, she's absent for the vote. She's.
Diana said yes.
All right. Marco? Excellent, we are complete.
So Chris is back. Did she send something via text or like on?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, you voting on Grace?
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to vote on temporarily appointing Grace?
Yes, I had to go to the restroom. I'm sorry. Yes.
TMI.
Guys, did the motion?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, item 10, I am recused. I am walking, away.
So item 10 is a motion for reconsideration on our April 3rd, 2025 vote. Pursuant to the bylaws, the board considered a motion to consider the action taken on April the 3rd, 2025. Agenda item 6B regarding approval of a neighborhood purpose grant for $500 to Beautify LA for supplies for hygiene kits for the homeless. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's been a problem. So. So there are 2 parts. The first one is a motion for reconsideration. The board will vote on whether to reconsider the prior approval of the MPG.
And do I need to make 2 bases for this?
There's
or-
only 2.
Okay.
Yeah. A motion for reconsideration can only be made by a board member who has previously voted on the prevailing side of the original action. Candace Jackson has submitted documentation for requesting reconsideration. So the motion is to reconsider this vote. I can't.
I will make the motion.
You'll make the motion to reconsider it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Hunter will reconsider. So.
You want to give us a vote in April?
We voted $500.
Yeah.
The city clerk, because of other issues,
same issue. It's like,
Yeah, right. So to protect us, we're gonna go through this motion. Here you go. And then let the denial or
Okay.
whatever it is.
Okay.
Come from that.
Do
Okay.
you want this?
Yeah, sure. You can jump in.
Yeah. I'll take a minute. So I'm on with the already we're talking. So the city clerk's office, they reached out to us, right? And they said what was going on. So it's up to the board if you guys decide to move on with this motion. I know that you guys want to protect yourselves and everything, but the two things to consider here is like it's the end of the fiscal year, right? And everything's going to be within the fiscal year. This means that if it's not funded by June 30th, then it's not gonna get funded, right? The second thing is that I know that you guys are very worried because like this board, Beautify LA, I know I went around with a few NCs and asked for money. So if you guys just feel like, hey, like you kind of took advantage of us, and this is something you should do, you know, like just to make sure in the future they don't apply again. It's like, hey, we didn't have your application before because of this, that will also protect you. So I think that's the reason behind that.
I think if I didn't know what I know, what you just shared is not enough for this board to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know what the pattern is. It's just timing.
Okay.
No, it's not hiding. You need to tell them exactly what the
So-
problem is.
So, like, I don't know the backstory, but I know that the city controller's office flagged the organization for embezzlement. I'm not sure who it was or what was.
I don't think I'm like that. So can you think really about what's happening?
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Stop.
Very.
the reason the two were flagged. Mark has been accused of embezzling from World Harvest. And Mark has gone ahead and the guy who applied for the Beautify LA grant, and what had happened is on the grant, it says, I'm only applying to you. But in reality, he applied to several other neighborhood councils. So what we were told was not true. So it's giving us an opportunity to rectify the situation so that we can do a do-over vote, knowing this additional information and the fact that LA Neighborhood Council Coalition has sent out a, hey, we're not giving money here is what's gone on everywhere else.
Was Mark the guy that was here that did the presentation to us?
On
We did
Zoom.
something that it was like a 3-part thing, and part of it was hygiene kits, part of it was like workshops with kids, and we were like, that's too much, we're gonna just do that.
I remember having it for him because I'm like, oh, a new guy was trying to help me out. There were people at that end of the table, looked at me like I was crazy, so I will take that one. So let's do this.
My mind is not that. The guy that came in here with the lady.
He was here.
That's from them. I'll let them go.
I think that same individual, Mark, he applied for 2 different organizations, right? He applied for this truck that would go around with World Harvest.
Yes.
And he also applied with Beautify LA to do these homeless kids, right? So I know that he stopped working for World Harvest at one point and switched over to Beautify LA as well. So I think that's a lot of.
So they're in cahoots?
No, so it's just. The person that worked for them, the guy that came and presented, on Zoom, he presented for 2 different organizations when he got taken over.
Oh,
Does that make sense, Lord?
So what am I to finish here?
so this is the guy that allegedly embezzled from World Harvest?
Yeah, allegedly.
So what we need to do is, we have a motion before us to reconsider that vote. And then do another vote to say yes or no.
Okay, got it.
To reconsider the vote to do what?
The vote, what's before us now is to reconsider
The entity.
the first one.
Because we gave him conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you reconsider, Lord, it's like, the action was approved last time, right?
Yeah,
So you're gonna say like, hey, I'm actually voting yes, but I actually wanna vote no now,
right.
so that's what this allows you to do.
Okay. Thank you.
So let's call the vote.
Excellent, Joshua.
So
Is there public comment before the vote?
I think we just had.
Steve's had his hand up for a minute.
My hand has been up.
Okay, we were discussing here, I apologize, go right ahead.
So I have a couple questions. My first question is there an organization without this person who has been accused of embezzlement? If so, I believe that distributing hygiene kits to the homeless is a really important use of UNNC funds. So is it possible to separate this person from the organization, or does the organization rise and fall with this person?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we cannot separate it because he reactivated this thing, he's the only person that works here right now. So no, we can't, but if you have an organization that will supply hygiene kits, we will be delighted to provide them with an MPG.
This is also
But it has to be a new one, it can't be associated with this.
I get it. I get it.
First time doing a project like this, so he doesn't have experience of doing this otherwise.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris.
We've had Tori, I believe she's still our homeless outreach representative, I believe. Can Tori bring a request, or can we vote that Tori distribute these through her established homeless links?
I think Tori has stepped down as the homeless liaison representative.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, all right, let's.
Yes. So he's giving us an app, go for it.
Yeah, so if you wanna do that, what you can, this mayor council can do to purchase homeless kits is, state that there's a city emergency along with the mayor's, state emergency about homelessness. Then, that would be enacted by the president, and then you would be able to purchase the homeless kits and give those out. But that's,
To do 1,000?
yeah.
But not under this thing, though.
No,
We need to finish this, right, and would it want to be agendized or?
Yeah,
Right.
it won't, it's here, but what Chris said, it can happen.
Yeah, right, okay, any other discussion? Okay, let's.
Back to the motion for reconsideration. Joshua.
Yes, sorry.
Doris.
So we are voting to reconsider our past vote.
Yes.
All right, Hunter.
Yes.
Laura, David.
Yes, sorry, the mute button wouldn't go.
Edward.
Yes.
Get back to Paula Grace.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Kareem.
Yeah.
Teresa.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Diana. Marco. Yes. Paula.
Yes.
Excellent. Motion passed.
Okay, so the second part to that, if the motion for reconsideration is approved, the board will discuss and take action on whether or not to proceed with the MPG with the proposed action to not move forward with the funding of the amount of $500.
Okay.
Any discussion on this?
We need a motion.
So moved.
So moved.
You second.
So what this is saying that
Yeah, clarify
we approved the motion to reconsider our previous vote. Since we've done that, the board will now discuss and take action on whether or not to proceed with the MPG.
Right.
So do we want to move forward? No, we don't.
No, we
Well,
don't.
So in this case, a negative vote would be to not.
Point of clarification.
So,
Did they both come in here? They were,
No.
okay, they were on Zoom. If I'm not mistaken,
Zoom, Glenn with World Harvest actually came in person. He did Zoom with executive committee, but he brought in his staff and Glenn.
I remember that, but the other two guys, they had a budget they were looking for.
It was just
But
one
there
guy.
was, okay, but there was no clarification on how much it was. There was a lot of gray areas. But that's, okay.
You guys called it human rights.
Well,
I was. Any questions in the audience? Okay, we're gonna go call for the vote.
All right, and again, the negative in this case is to not proceed with it.
Correct.
So Joshua.
Wait, just to clarify again, so no vote means that we are not granting the NP, or moving forward with the NPG. No.
Dolores,
No.
Hunter,
No.
yeah, so I think.
This board will take action on whether or not to proceed. So we're saying, yes, we don't want to proceed.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay, so we move not proceed.
So, yeah, so if you decide not to, then that's the motion, right? Yes, vote yes.
Yes.
Okay, going back, Joshua,
Yes.
all right, Dolores.
Yes.
Hunter.
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula.
Paula?
Yes.
Great, Grace,
Yes.
I'm a yes, Corinne,
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Chris,
Yes, not to proceed.
correct, Diana,
Yes.
Marco.
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay, that's great. So
Way to recuse yourself, Laura, that was good going.
So the next one, while we're waiting for her to come back, is a community impact statement for Council File 250441, which instructs the city attorney, with assistance from the Bureau of Street Services and the LAPD, to report on enforcement of LAPC 62.174, injury to trees, including the current penalty for violations as well as recommendations to update or strengthen the code. This motion is responsive to the destruction of trees that took place Easter weekend in downtown and nearby neighborhoods. So you guys probably all saw it, some guy, there's a guy who grabbed a chainsaw and cut down a lot of the church trees downtown. And UFP is not staffed on the weekends. Some of the people called the police. The police did not come out right away. And this motion is to, what I'm asking the board to is support this motion to make sure there's enforcement when people destroy trees.
You actually wrote us.
Oh.
You wrote it.
United Neighborhoods of the Historic Arlington Heights, Church Park, West Adams Communities. Neighborhood Council supports 250441, requesting reports back from the Bureau of Street Services, BSS, and the Los Angeles Police Department on the enforcement of Los Angeles Municipal Code 62.174, injury to trees. We also recommend strengthening the code to include tiered financial penalties based on the age of the injured tree, the tiered financial penalties based on the extent of injury to the tree, and tiered financial penalties based on the percentage of tree canopy lost via injury to the tree. With the tree canopy coverage of only 15%, UNNC area, compared to the average of city canopy of 25%, the UNNC recognizes the importance of every tree in our community and the necessity for their preservation. So I move that we submit a CIS for this in support of this.
I second.
Thank you, Chris. Any comments? Okay.
Excellent. Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Hunter.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Yes.
Grace, I'm a yes, Corinne.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Michael. Chris,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Marco.
Yes.
So the next one, I'll take that one to Laura, is Council 525.
You haven't shared it. Go ahead.
Okay. Community impact statement for Council File 25-002-S13. This is a state assembly bill which would continue to authorize neighborhood councils to use alternate teleconferencing provisions to conduct their meetings. Since we do that,
Yeah.
Right.
I think I might.
Oh,
Actually, among the city's neighborhood councils, UNNC is a pioneer in its use of Zoom and hybrid technology.
Yes, thank you.
In a, regularly scheduled meeting of the United Neighborhoods, blah, blah, blah. Well, we'll change that to June 5. On June 5, 2025, The governing board voted to support Council File 250002 S13, requesting that the city council support AB 47 Fong, extending neighborhood council's ability to, fix the ground, ability to conduct virtual meetings through 2040.
Okay, so can I move that or that came from somebody?
I'll make a motion to move that as is.
Thank you, and I'll send it.
Okay, and the draft CIS will be corrected for
June 5th and grammar.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any comments? No, we're ready when I'm.
Yes, I'm ready now. Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yeah.
Hunter.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Grace,
Yes.
I'm yes, Green,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Marco.
Yes.
Steve, you still here? Oops. Go ahead. Should I pull up the CIS first or the council motion first?
I think the CIS motion should go.
Let's go up.
Because the council motion is essential, we're supporting the council motion.
Okay.
This
Yeah,
is a single
Steve.
PAC, right?
Yeah, but Steve Peckman gets to.
Go right ahead, Steve.
Well, I haven't shared yet, sorry.
Oh,
But you still can go right ahead. Yeah, Steve, you
am I
can,
doing this? Okay,
well,
sorry.
I mean, yeah, just say, I'm Steve.
I'm
I'm
Steve
concerned-
Peckman from Jefferson Park.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, this agenda item is about Senate Bill 79, which removes all protections for historic neighborhoods and actually every neighborhood within the state to promote unrestricted development of up to 7 to 10 stories in any neighborhood.
Okay, now I'm gonna interrupt. Not every neighborhood, any corner of the whole state, but rather, it is where there's major transit, train stations,
Within a half a mile of transit.
well, not just trains,
Stations or major bus stops.
or as written, dedicated bus lanes, which would be most of Los Angeles by the time 2028 rolls around. Okay, go ahead, Steve.
So anyway, the Planning and Zoning Committee met yesterday and recommended that the governing board support this community impact statement to be sent out. And it reads, UNNC has a long record of supporting equity and diversity in affordable housing. We also support major housing mixed-use projects on our corridors instead of in stable character and historic neighborhoods. LA's housing crisis is experienced by people who are unhoused and Angelenos at risk of losing their homes. SB 79 does not include or encourage affordable housing. UNNC stands with other neighborhood councils and the city attorney in support of the council file, which opposes SB 79. SB 79 will destroy neighborhoods and communities by overriding existing zoning within a half mile of major rail bus stops without ensuring housing affordability, and hard-won generational equity in single-family homes in historically underserved and under-resourced communities like UNNC and CD10. SB 79 will silence the voices of underserved communities that have been historically burdened with top-down zoning rules by removing all of the community's existing rights through standard processes and replacing those rights with ministerial review. It will also undermine our state-approved climate, transportation, and housing commitments. The law will allow, through density bonuses, structures as tall as 105 feet, approximately 10.5 stories. Some of the most densely populated areas within the UNNC boundary are within a half mile of a major rail stop. Thus, any property in those neighborhoods, including the middle of single-family residential, industrial, or commercial blocks, will be available for SB 79 development. SB 79 should be stopped before it eliminates local control of land use matters impedes the city's ability to meet its housing commitment in our state-approved housing element, ignores and results in the loss of the careful planning that created historic zones and specific and community plans, and destroys thriving communities and neighborhoods in LA. UNNC urges the City Council to act quickly against SB 79's negative impact on our residential communities and the undermining of the city's housing element.
So, by way of background, the city council's got a pending motion to oppose SB 79, but that motion has mired itself in a committee. It has not moved back to the council as a whole. The state senate voted on Wednesday, barely by one vote, to approve SB 79, and it has moved to the assembly. And Steve, you did some research.
So I contacted the chief clerk of the assembly. The Senate Bill 79 will go unchanged to the assembly. It will be assigned to the appropriate committees. The committees have their own schedule of deadlines to address these kinds of things, so it will move through that process. The assembly may amend the bill, and if it's approved by the committees, it moves to the full assembly for vote with those possible amendments. If there are amendments, then the assembly bill amended will need to go back to the state senate for concurrence, which, if you're familiar with the federal process between the House of Representatives and the federal Senate, that's a process called reconciliation. If the Senate disagrees with the assembly and wants to change it further, then the whole process starts over again. If the Senate agrees with the assembly, then the bill is passed and it's sent to the governor for signature. If the assembly decides to approve Senate Bill 79 as submitted by the Senate, then that would go to the governor as well.
And so the city attorney for LA is not bound by waiting for the council to act. And she sent her own letter to who
She sent her own letter to the Senate.
Okay, to the Senate.
And to the city council, essentially indicating that this is an unfunded mandate if passed, and it will cost the city in additional infrastructure costs and first responder costs of a baseline $1.6 billion with a B as in boy.
And it's unfunded. So she's
So it's an
saying,
unfunded mandate that she believes is illegal according to state law, that if the state passes such a bill, then the state has an obligation to fund these costs that she says will be the responsibility of the city otherwise.
right, well, and I did a little research, and actually in the legislative analysis at the Senate, they said the same thing, that it's an unfunded mandate.
Any comment?
Is the 1 billion over
1 billion.
Well, how do you know? I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
Well, let's talk about the infrastructure that we're allowed to have all this development. We have to change the sewer lines, we have to redo the sidewalks, redo the street. I mean, there's a lot of work that would take place. But Hunter, I can tell you have a question.
Well, no, I mean, not so much a question, I'm confused about how the mandate comes in with this bill, because I know that obviously it's like, you know, if this were to be approved, which I think there's a long shot to be approved in the first place, whether we put in a statement or not. It's not like they're gonna start building on every corner that there's a bus stop or a train station, like there's gonna be developers, there's gonna be red tape still. And I also don't think that they're gonna just start plowing through historical homes and historical districts.
Well, I think it will move some of the relic, some of the objections to the building that's being built on Gramercy, right? Like the large one.
Well,
So
I'm not even sure, because the way this is written, it uses the word major. Again, it's easily defined. The word major transit / train station. Everyone can see what a train station looks like. They know if there is one or there isn't, basically. But when it comes to buses, it gets changed all the time. And that's one of the big issues. That's been the big issue with what they call the TOC ordinance, which has, you know, does circles. So that's the thing with 1848 Gramercy, is like 5 inches into a TOC. And so he wanted to do a TOC and now he's using a different law. I mean, you know, that's a whole different.
I think your
situation.
situation is the city will lose its authority and power and
On zoning at all.
on zoning. Yeah, it'll be the state making, mandating us and take away our
100%.
rights.
Chris.
No matter how we vote tonight, I think it's really important to communicate to all our constituents that if they are not happy with the way this bill is currently worded and it has passed the House, that they need to send individual letters to the state assembly and to the governor, because it's going, you know, there must be a loud voice and people need to take action, because it is not well constrained as it's currently written.
So the thing is, a little bit of technical, normally a neighborhood council cannot take actions on state legislation. We can take our first action would be the community impact statement on the pending city council motion.
Okay,
So
let's do
if
that.
we do that,
Let's do.
then we can write a letter, then we can.
Let's look at that vote. Let's
Yeah.
know what's 9 o'clock.
And
One more question. To the smarter people. Jurisdictionally, a Senate bill overrides the local jurisdictions of the city.
Yeah.
Okay, given that, don't they still, as a developer, don't you still have to consider the planning department
No.
public hearing process?
No,
Not under
because
this.
it's gonna be ministerial.
yeah.
So, and
Okay,
another.
we're ready to go.
Well, I just want to answer one other question, sorry. And the reason it takes away the city's ability to do its housing element is part of the housing element is a large percentage of affordable housing. So this would interfere with the city's ability to have a developer, even if they do 7 feet or 7 stories.
It's being pushed the way it is.
I don't know.
Okay, let's,
But
Yeah,
Steve,
call for the vote, please.
hold on, Steve has a question, a comment.
No, it's how I
no,
get.
okay, good,
Where's the
okay, thank
motion?
you. Let's
Nobody,
vote.
oh, Steve can't make, okay, I will move that we adopt the CIS as presented
Absolutely.
and work on a letter that will go to elected officials, local and state, a letter to be approved to reflect this, plus it'll be expanded to include some suggested changes perhaps, but to be approved by executive committee.
I second. This is Paula.
You don't want to do that?
Well, I think it's gonna go to our state senator, I would like to see it, but I'm just.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. I
Let's
believe.
Yeah, let's go. It's over.
Excellent. Joshua,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Hunter.
No.
Laura,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Edward,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Grace.
Yeah,
I'm a yes. Green,
yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Michael.
I thought we had to abstain since we were in committee.
No, we just can't make the motion.
Oh, okay, then I vote yes.
Okay, Chris,
Yes.
Diana,
Yeah.
Marco. Excellent. That is all.
So, yeah, we're done. Yeah, we're done. Okay.
Okay, if we're done,
Yeah, go ahead, Grace.
I have a wonderful announcement to make because Alfonso reminded me that since the mayor had called homelessness a state of emergency, Paula, our president, has the authority to go ahead and give up to $1,000 to a nonprofit so that we can have Corey Bailey use the funds
She
to.
doesn't have a nonprofit, but I'm sure we can find.
We've
out.
got United Methodist Church where she is a member of that church.
Okay.
Which does a lot of homeless outreach.
We can figure it out.
Yes, we can figure it out. So
Okay,
let's make sure that gets spent, Paula.
okay, I have one other announcement. We have a cake for our celebrants. At the back.
Okay, the meeting's adjourned.
Meeting is adjourned.
And I know.
Thank our community members who attended and thank you, Steve, for the work you've put in.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
And enjoy a piece of cake for me.
Enjoy your
Okay.
retirements, those outgoing board members.